You know, when we eventually do get that one Nintendo Direct that sets up 2021 and gives us information on Nintendo Switch games like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, and Bayonetta 3, I really hope we get some kind of extra surprise, a Nintendo Switch game that we knew nothing about. I love the but wait there's more surprises that Nintendo has. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo-Chan Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to talk about the July Nintendo Direct and why the July 2020 Nintendo Direct felt so empty and disappointing to a lot of Nintendo Switch fans. We also need to talk about what this means for the next Nintendo Direct. So Nintendo has been quiet still. Nintendo hasn't set up the Nintendo Switch games for 2021, which for the longest time we all thought they would have by now. Especially considering that Nintendo just released Paper Mario and the Origami King, and we know nothing about their Nintendo Switch plans besides what we got at the July mini Nintendo Direct. And I gotta say, it's really starting to drain my battery, guys. You know, I've come to expect these power outages by now, but that doesn't make them any less annoying. Hold on, let me find the Switch. Where the heck is that thing? Ah. Here you are. But even though the mini Nintendo Direct was vastly disappointing to me anyways, it really makes you wonder why Nintendo gave us a mini Nintendo Direct that had such little content. Because for a mini Nintendo Direct, it was pretty small. It was more like a micro mini Nintendo Direct. And that's micro and mini, that's super small. If you take a look at the previous Nintendo Direct versus this one and how much was in it, it dwarfs this recent July Nintendo Direct. Now, if you've been wondering why this was, I may have an answer for you. So you recall Kelios over on Twitter, who leaked the mini Nintendo Direct weeks before the July mini Nintendo Direct was ever announced on Twitter by Nintendo's Twitter account, right? Well, one of his tweets had something very interesting to say that could speak for not only potential, and I want to stress potential, first-party games, which I'll explain later in the video if you're confused on that, second-party games, and third-party games showing up at the Nintendo Direct, and maybe, just maybe, we can also get those Super Mario 35th Anniversary games, if they're true, because I'm starting to have some doubts on that. So I'm gonna read off this tweet, and then we'll get into exactly what this could potentially mean for an August 2020 Nintendo Direct. They splitted the expected presentation, grouped useless games, and started with the bad part. Let's wait. Now keep in mind this is from the same person who put out word weeks before the mini Nintendo Direct that it was coming on the 20th, so he has some insider information. So what does this mean? Well, we know that Nintendo said during their shareholder meeting that they're getting the Nintendo Switch back on track when it comes to production of the Nintendo Switch. Not only that, but the Nintendo Switch games according to Nintendo are back on track with development, so it would make sense that they have enough games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4 to show off. So if the useless Nintendo games were shown off at the mini Nintendo Direct, that means we could have the bigger Nintendo Switch announcements like Bayonetta 3 and No More Heroes 3 and other Nintendo Switch games shown off at the next Nintendo Direct. But what about the first party games from Nintendo, you're probably asking? Well, summer is coming to a close, much to my own despair, but this also means that Nintendo Switch production is going back to normal and should be back in gear, which means the virus is less of a problem for Nintendo. Now, considering all that information, I think we could possibly see an August 2020 Nintendo Direct that has one of two things. One, we could get third-party and second-party games shown, like No More Heroes 3 and Bayonetta 3. We could even get Pokemon Snap shown, because that's being made by Bandai Namco. And of course, smaller Nintendo Switch games too. Or we could see the full August 2020 Nintendo Direct that has both third-party and some first-party titles. Now, there is a third option here, and after that I'll tell you what I think is most likely gonna happen. The third option is that we have an August Nintendo Direct that is third-party games, and then when we hit the fall, say September or October, we get that first-party Nintendo Direct with games like Breath of the Wild 2 and hopefully those Mario 35th Anniversary games. Again, if they're true, because I'm still having my doubts on if they're true or not. Now, the most likely situation that I could see Nintendo pulling off is having more of these mini Nintendo Directs that are partner showcases. Because Nintendo likes to keep a momentum of hype when it comes to Nintendo Directs. They release some announcements with Nintendo Directs and wait a bit and then release some more and so on. Unfortunately, due to the virus or whatever underlying reasons Nintendo had for delaying the Nintendo Switch games, it kind of ruined their momentum. So what do you think about all this? Do you think the Nintendo Direct was split in two and that we are getting a bigger Nintendo Direct with Nintendo Switch announcements later on in August? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to RoboRob Gaming for more gaming news. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.